Okay, boys and girls, we are live with the weather report for the 20th of February. And I am 25,613 days old today. It's my birthday again.
And I am
13 is not a lucky number. Oh, no. Let me go take my blood pressure medicine. I'll be right back.
Are you really taking any blood pressure medicine?
No, I'm lying. I like to grind it up and snort it because it reminds me of old times.
I take my blood pressure medicine and it gets stuck in my throat, and I spend half the morning going trying to breathe.
Have you heard of water? Water.
Sometimes the water will not get it. I don't know what it is.
Really, mine are little tiny things, a little like lisinopril HCTZ. And it knocks my blood pressure down so low that the doctor's frequently wondering if I'm still alive. But without it, it started to get. I had low blood pressure until I was like 60, and then all of a sudden it started shooting up. And my whole family's that way. We all suffered from low blood pressure. In fact, my doctor told me to eat a lot of salt to try to, because I couldn't stay awake in the afternoon.
You were actually told to eat salt?
Yeah, my doctor said, salt will raise your blood volume and kick your blood pressure up a little bit.
And you need to have more ice cream and pizza too.
My doctor was trying to kill me because he was pissed off because I was healthier than he was, and he never smoked or did any of the things that I did. And every time I go in there, he'd say, genetics.
Speed, are you okay?
It was cool. I think I'll live. But anyway, so I wanted David Neff to come in and talk about that whole fucking heat problem debate last night. Oh my God, Standing for Truth is like a fucking box of rocks.
Yeah, I saw. Standing for Truth was premiering it on his channel, and I wanted to shoot myself. Well, not really that bad, but it was bad.
I'd like to come in. Okay, at one point, I haven't been able to find it, but Standing for Truth said, well, just like with abiogenesis, you guys don't have all the answers. In fact, you don't have any answers. We don't have all the answers for the heat problem. And then he listed a bunch of real viable solutions. And then he came up with this.
Are you putting viable in quotes?
Yeah. Let me get rid of some stuff here and hide chat replay. Oh, Argatha in the chat, I noticed he asked David how the continents got moving in the first place. Like that was a challenge to the what do they call it? Continuous model. What is that called? They keep talking about
it was a couple of Nephilim on a treadmill.
Yeah. How did the continents get moving? Indicating that Argatha doesn't know the first fucking thing about plate tectonics. And it's like, my God. I couldn't believe some of the shit I heard last night from come out of Standing for Truth's mouth. That boy. And he sounds like he just reels this shit out. We have an example. I just got a couple of small clips, but I kind of wanted David to come in. Where are you, David?
Well, he's in the chat, but he says he might be a while. I think earlier on he said 30 minutes or so.
Okay.
Oops.
Mail's here. Oh, no, somebody's on your lawn. Better go deal with that. Hello? Is anybody out there? I guess not. Am I alone? Oh my God.
Yeah, no, I'm here. I'm just playing Unlock the King.
You're playing games while you're on my weather report? You irreverent bastard. See if I can still hear you.
You can. Hello?
Cool. I can hear everybody. This is going to really be helpful. Hello. Oh, shit. Oh, no. Oh, you guys couldn't hear that, right? Okay. My thing was running.
I'm back.
You're back? Was somebody on your lawn?
Well, the Uber Eats person came to the door. Ooh. And I always leave them a note inside the app. Do not knock or ring the doorbell. This person did both.
Yep. I always tell them I have a big sign on my door. Ring the doorbell 4 times loud. Really, we're not kidding. Ring the doorbell. Otherwise, porcupirates will get our stuff. And the house is kind of big, so I don't hear the doorbell ring if I got the TV on. Let's see here. Okay, Mr. Standing for Truth. So, and we got John Peterson. Hey, John. About time
John Peterson.
you show up.
Who the fuck's David?
David Neff.
David P. Neff.
David P. Neff.
It's like I get this fucking email and it's like, David, please come on. I'm like, I'm not fucking David.
Yeah, I know, but I sent it to you anyway. So I figured you guys would figure that out, that I put a little message in the subject line. Standing for truth.
What, that's what you're looking at? Standing for truth shit?
Yep.
Oh, God. I think I've just experienced too much idiot for the last couple of days.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have. There's been a bit of that. But, I don't know, it's been a mess. The thing is, you got to step away from this, people. The lesson we all learned is that certain interlopers are going to come in and they're going to disrupt communities. And when they do that, we have to kind of ignore them.
Yeah.
To a point.
So why am I in here?
I got to tell you, I'm at the end of my rope with Tog. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
Fuck his ass. He keeps having P Mars on his channel.
Really?
Oh yeah, P Mars was on there earlier today.
How would you dare have P. Mars on your channel? I mean, he says the worst shit.
Oh, and guess what they were talking about?
Smokey?
Veckel was there. Ronan was there. Ronan Kanoosh. And I forget who else. Oh, fuck. Well, I'll remember. But they were talking about race. And P. Mars was there.
Oh, no.
Oh, Serb was actually there, too. And then I put in the live chat, I'm like, this one guy, it's kind of weird. Like, you guys are talking about race right now, but you got P. Mars in there. And then Cerberus hits me back. Well, that's what makes it fun.
Oh, my God. Yeah, if you want a shit show. So last night we did a rather thoughtful piece on neutral theory and a whole bunch of other sciencey stuff. And we got like 50 views. And if I do the weather report and we do, kind of a shit show, we get 100 views before we're even done with the weather report. And I'm a little depressed about that. I kind of like our sciencey stuff to, so I guess we got to get better at making it more interesting for everybody because we tend to get deep in the weeds. I don't know. But, if we put out good content, we get less views. If we put out dumpster fire stuff, we get a lot of views. So a lot of people just come on to just do dumpster fires.
Well, I mean, it's the weather report pays the bills and the other stuff is what you love to do.
Yeah, and Saturday Night at the Atheist should be a dumpster fire. I mean, that one should be crazy. And because that's sort of where we're supposed to unload on these guys. But been doing that on the weather report a little bit. Like, for instance, today I called Standing for Truth a box of rocks about 5 minutes ago. And he certainly is. But he's a box of rocks that talks like a preacher or a car salesman. He sounds like he really, really knows what he's doing, right?
Yeah, I've always thought the car salesman thing about him. I'm not sure why, but
he certainly should look into it.
Can I just say something? Ever since he appeared on camera, he reminded me of a diet dog walker. If you know who that is,
No,
just the way he looks, like the nostalgia critic.
a diet dog walker.
Yeah, I don't know, just the way he's dressed with his tuxedo and not the tuxedo, the suit. I don't know. He just
But
gives off.
what's a diet dog walker though?
He looks like Dog Walker, but just
Doug.
Oh, yeah, a dog walker on a diet. Okay.
Doug.
I thought you said a diet dog walker. I'm like, what the fuck?
no.
Dog.
Like DOUG, Doug.
Andrew Cummings says, I don't like LPP anymore.
I mean, did you ever like him?
What's the anymore for? Like, there was a time you liked him. Like,
were you on his channel last night? Apparently, you got burned again. I try to tell you kids.
hey, David, you're supposed to be in here, man. Or is he?
Yeah, and Andrew's supposed to be here. Oh, Andrew is here. What the fuck? No, he was here, but he left.
I see David is in the chat, but I can't see whether he's in the room because you seem to share comments for like 3 hours at a time.
Oh, yeah, and I know. The only reason I do that is because it aggravates you, John.
Well, it only covers me up this time, so
Yeah.
no loss there.
Okay, so I would like Orgay to come in if Orgay's lurking out there somewhere.
Orgay.
Okay.
Orgay 343 or G.
So did anybody see Knox's video from last night?
I did, yeah. That was he. I got to talk to Knock. I don't know. Anyway,
I mean, he and I made up last night on Jefferson's stream, so that's good.
Andrew, I need you. Maybe I need you. I don't know. Maybe you don't know.
Want the rest of us to leave?
Plate tectonics. Well, you guys know you're kind of the who are those two on Cheers that were always at the bar?
Yeah. Norm and Cliff.
Yeah, you guys are always at the bar. So chat room is his comfort zone. Come on, Andrew. Come on. Yeah, he's not very forceful about talking. But anyway, I was going to play a few things here. Okay?
What? So Andrew don't like us no more?
You don't like us no more. I'm sorry. Well, maybe LPP abused him so badly last night that he's afraid to come on any streams anymore.
I mean, actually, no, you know what? I shouldn't make that joke.
Andrew, show us on the doll where
yeah, we're John touched you, or Maddox.
Well,
touched
yeah,
you.
I was gonna make the joke that that he should be charged for child endangerment and abuse, but I was joking. So moving on.
Yep.
You were going to do what you just said, like
Yes.
Now you're not. Now you're not going to say it. Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
You should know that I'm a weird person by now, John.
Was that on SFT's channel, Andrew? Because that's a video that we're looking at, right? Okay, I'm gonna play something.
Then essentially we don't have a problem. Now it fits like a glove. We got the evidence for accelerated nuclear decay in the rocks, and now we have plausible solutions as to how we can dump all that heat into space itself.
Okay, so and then we have this, which is we're gonna play for a little while. So let's try not to interrupt you too much.
So I would say I'm not disagreeing with the fact that the plates are moving. Okay, this is pretty well a fact, obviously.
Right.
My point is that according to actualism, okay, the plates are colliding into each other at snail-paced movements. Okay,
Correct.
so the buckling that would result from these uniformitarian processes, okay, they can't actually explain empirically the forming or the uplifting of these mountains. Okay, the collision of these plates are supposed to explain the uplifting.
Can
of
we
these
stop
mountains,
it,
right?
please?
But what I'm saying
Nope,
is
not yet.
the meters per second
What?
plate movement
Not yet.
during the flood could easily explain
What
how
do you mean
through
not yet?
catastrophic plate tectonics these mountains are formed. That's why I'm using the example of two cars coming at each other at 100 kilometers an hour. Okay, the buckling that would result, okay, is significant enough where you're looking at two cars coming at each other at 20 kilometers an hour. You're not going to have any.
Okay, so what this idiot is saying is that Orgay. First of all, he's saying meters per second. So if we say 2 meters per second, he thinks the continents were moving at 4 miles an hour. Anyway, I've heard estimates between 4 and hundreds of miles an hour. So the continents were just rolling along and they smashed into each other. And if that hadn't happened, the mountains wouldn't have formed. So what he's thinking about is cars. Cars are not being pushed. They're going at a certain speed and there's a certain momentum but continents are being like pushed constantly. So there's this constant pressure. And he's saying that the mountains could not be formed if the continents are moving at centimeters.
Right. He
per
thinks it
year.
has to be a high speed collision.
Right.
And
so,
what it is once they start, plowing into one another. I mean, he's not thinking big enough. He's not thinking how huge this is and how much fucking force and pressure it is,
and temperature.
and then the amount of time it takes. He thinks that if it's not like two cars coming together and smashing upward with some huge speed and force, then no, can't happen.
Well, and that would crack the rock rather than fold the rock.
Yeah.
Right, Orge?
Yeah, so I believe they also have this weird, somewhat mud mixture that everything is simultaneously at the same time, right?
Yeah, but the Himalayan mountains were made out of mud.
Well, that's why I hear a lot of time.
Yeah. Molten
And
taffy.
by the way, the Himalayan mountains, India was moving, I think, what we think, 40 millimeters per year, something like that.
Mhm.
So, sorry, 40 centimeters per year. So he's talking about continents traveling 100 times faster than we've recorded them traveling. So
No, he's talking about 4 miles an hour.
yeah, that's
During an
that's a-
earthquake?
That's thousands of times faster.
I mean, four
Yeah.
times an hour, the tectonic plates would like rotate the planet like what every 10 years or some shit like
Well,
that.
okay. Then
Exactly.
he also says in here that the rapid rate of radiation created all this heat, and somehow that heat is what moved the continents.
Well, one of the big problems with that is there's two prevailing mechanisms for continental drift. There's the circulation of the asthenosphere under the lithosphere, the mantle convecting around. And there's also slab pull, which is as things are subducted down, the force of gravity is pulling these things.
Okay.
So if the continent is moving that fast, you're basically having a pile up underneath the earth of all this material that's just being shoved down there. And
Oh, you know
we don't
what?
have
I didn't
evidence
even-
of that.
I didn't
we
even
have
think of
time.
that because of the subduction. That shit has to have time to fucking melt back into it.
Because
Yeah.
that's where like the Cascadias and stuff like that. Those are ocean continent convergent plate boundary, and the result of the Mount St. Helens, for example, is the direct result of the Pacific continent being subducted underneath, melting, and then forming the volcanoes.
Yeah.
So
And then he also talked about this cold slab that they found.
yeah,
Basically. And
that
why
was
does how did they know when that cold slab broke off, and how cold isn't that cold slab just a certain number of degrees colder?
Well, that the slab they're talking about, I think someone, maybe it was Scott, even sent me that link. That slab's like under China, and
Yeah.
that has a very particular geography to its subduction, which essentially it's subducted above some like metamorphic rock that is keeping the heat down.
Okay.
And it's something that they already figured out 15 years ago.
But I mean, he talks about it like it's it's ice cold, like it's just I don't know.
Well, because the heat gradients on the scientists that did this, they grade things hot is red, blue is cold.
Yeah.
And I guess Standing thinks blue means ice when it just means 10 degrees difference.
Yeah, it means it means different than red, basically.
You have to read the legend on whatever graph or
Yeah.
representation they're doing.
Exactly.
See, everything, all these kind of things here, all I ever think of, like when you're talking about this kind of science and what somebody like SFT's response is to this, all I can think of is, well, you know what? Like if I was an all-powerful being, and I was going to make a place for my creations to live, would I go through all this complicated bullshit that has to go on, or would I just, with my magic, make a big rock floating in space for them? Would I have to make plate tectonics? Would I have to, make a certain kind of atmosphere? Would I, you know what I mean? He could do it any way he wanted, but he chose the most complicated fucking way possible. and did shit like put our breathing hole and our eating hole side by side. Like.
So
yeah, if you don't read the Bible, you get a different story, and God made it to appear to have a different story than it actually was because faith and hell, I guess.
Yeah. So their guy did a calculation and figured out that the surface of the Earth would be 20,000 degrees centigrade. If this increased radiation were a thing, right? And
Yeah.
Standing for Truth in this video had a whole bunch of things. He said, number one, there were hypercanes, and hurricanes cool the ocean. So these hypercanes took away a lot of that heat that would have vaporized the Earth, and pushed it into outer space. And then he says that water shot into outer space, formed ice cubes, and fell back onto the Earth. Now, if you took an ice cube and it re-entered the atmosphere, would you have an ice cube when it hit the ground?
No, you wouldn't even have the water left.
Yeah, you'd be lucky if you had H2O and not just hydrogen and fucking.
I'm assuming he doesn't have any experiment about this. This is all just hypothetical.
Yeah, but he thinks those ice cubes then cooled the Earth off. Like, how many ice cubes would you have to dump on the Earth? I mean, even if you could get an ice cube from space,
There's a
without it
Futurama
fucking burning,
episode about
right?
that.
What's that?
He's stealing from Futurama.
Yeah, it's just.
I
And
thought
then-
you said shoot water into space. I thought we were going to hear an alternative to the lunar bukkake theory.
Oh, it's water bukkake, but no. His theory is the it's basically bourbon on the rocks theory, where these ice cubes are poured into the drink, and they.
I think of it as more of a rapid bidet.
Right.
theory.
And then the other thing he says is that the water would insulate Noah from the heat because water is such a good insulator.
It's not an insulator. That's the whole
It's not
point.
an insulator. It's a fucking.
Especially when you're going 9 miles or 9 miles an hour under the ocean and heating up the ocean, and water's boiling, and you want to surround
Plus,
Noah with water. That makes your ark a submarine.
plus, we have hurricanes that are 500 miles wide, hypercanes,
Yeah.
shooting up into space. We got the continents flying around at fucking 9 miles an hour. We've got the Earth exploding water up into the outer space and hitting the moon. I mean, and Noah's little boats floating on all that.
Not to mention all the fish somehow surviving this because
Yeah.
no one didn't take any fish on the ark.
And the bugs and the plants, all the seeds and all the plants.
And it's not good science, but Michael Bay could make a great movie out of it.
I mean, and then just listen for just a second. John, you can mute your headphones if you can't stand this guy.
Buckling. You're not going to have anything as a result, really. So my point is, catastrophic plate tectonics, which we are assuming during the flood, that is our model, can better explain the mountains to begin with. And what?
I mean, he goes on and he becomes more and more confident as he's basically spewing this garbage. And no matter what David says to him, he just goes on and he spews the same garbage again. And it's like, holy shit. And this guy is considered one of the leaders in that community, I think.
It's like when my 4-year-old son would try to impress me by making up a story, and he'd go, "Hey, and then the mountains started going real fast, and then,
Yeah, and then the water dried, and then and then my teddy bear came into the room. I love when kids
imagine.
kids tell the most boring story ever, and you're fucking trying to pay attention. You're trying to pay attention.
Well, and then
And-
oh, sorry, go ahead. Sorry, I thought you were done.
oh yeah, did you say and then? Yeah.
Yeah, but so, all right, so, and I'm again, I'm the idiot in the room as always. But when it comes to plate tectonics, now where this occurs, it's far enough below the surface of the Earth that we've had to use other data, and it's all based on calculation and everything. Like we haven't been able to get that far into the Earth where this goes on. Am I correct?
Well, yeah, you don't physically see it. This is done via seismology measurements, gravity measurements, magnetism, and then also just proof of theory. You get rocks like peridot, ultramafic, and are only really produced at super high temperatures. And where we see that come up is the result of the tectonic activity.
And then is it too far away? Like, have we ever got any readings of this going on from like ground-based sonar or radar? Like,
oh, definitely, yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
so
you go out to California. People have taken you can take like a cross section of the subduction by Washington, Oregon, California, stuff like that, and you can see down thousands of miles and actually see the separate plates moving and all that stuff.
Oh, okay. So it's not. It's definitely not a hypothesis. Then it's a set theory. We know that this is happening. Then by
yes,
okay.
We know the continents are moving. We can measure the exact movement of the continents via GPS. Something I like to tell my students is 10 years ago, the chair you're sitting in was 10 centimeters to the left. Because America's moving, All
right. So then the reason I ask those questions is so now you have SFT decrying all that, denouncing all that. And I didn't hear like an alternative model except for his crazy, ideas that Speed was just talking about. Like, how does not only how does he get away with doing that, but why do so many people believe what he says is true? Because I see him on MDD doing debates and shit, and the sheer volume of people in the chat that are like, "Oh yeah, SFT, get him, you're smart, we love you," just boggles my fucking mind. Like,
well, I think a lot of it's probably just cheering for your team, right? I mean, how many people are Cleveland Browns fans for how long? They never win a game, but I mean, I think a lot of it's that. And then secondly, people care so little about geology that you don't need to say something correct to sound smart. I mean, I'm the only. You guys talk about biology all the time. I have 30 people on here to talk biology, but
I do despair. But man, those continents, holy shit, look at them go. Look at them go.
Hey, guts to give it, Erica, who is dumber, SFT or Otangelo? If you care to answer.
I think SFT believes that gravity affects gases, so.
Yeah.
No, he thinks it doesn't affect gas.
No, that's Otangelo. Otangelo doesn't think that.
Oh, you said SFT. Never mind. I'm sorry. My face is red.
Well, wait a minute. Okay. So you were saying SFT thinks gravity affects gases, so that makes him the least dumb?
Little bit smarter.
Okay. Yeah, I forget where I saw that. Was that somewhere on
that was like in this channel, right?
Like I heard somebody saying that
was yesterday.
That gravity didn't affect gases.
That was Otangelo yesterday on the chat.
Oh, okay. And then it fucking made my whole head like spin going through the whole, well, wait a minute. You're the crazy motherfuckers that say you can't have pressure without a fucking container. And here's an all explanation. And you want to know why it's true? Because if you have pressure in a container, there is no gradient pressure, but there is gradient pressure on the Earth.
The source of that was John Maddox thinks it's ridiculous that we would think that billions of stars could form just perfectly like they do. Like stars are such perfect little things. They have to have fine-tuned conditions. Otherwise, they will supernova. And so Maddox probably, and then Otangelo came in defending Maddox as stupid and said that gravity does not affect gas.
Maddox pretty much demonstrated his sheer ignorance of stellar astrophysics.
Oh my God, it's horrible. He should shut his fucking mouth.
Erica says it depends
really
on the topic, in her opinion, as to which one of them is dumber. That's a fair answer.
Well, the only thing I can say is Otangelo really did say yesterday that gravity does not affect gases, and then both me and I believe it was, I want to say Doubting Thomas, were pushing him on whether or not he was going to answer that question, like, does gravity affect gases? He wouldn't answer and left the room.
Yeah.
So he doesn't know anything about general relativity either.
Well, that's not even general relativity. That's like high school physics. I mean, that's it's beyond bad. That's PV equals nRT sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I still can't. I've never had a flat earther or a YEC be able to answer that. Well, if there's a dome, why is there gradient pressure? And then the other one I always ask the flat earthers is, okay, well, if the Earth is perfectly flat, why can't we see the ice wall with a telescope from the tip of any continent? From the southern tip of any continent.
So if he's not dumb, then he's a liar. So he's one of the other. And I think he's a liar for Jesus because he doesn't really know how all this stuff works, but he just knows that the Bible is true. And he has to preach it to everybody. And he's just a preacher. But him and Maddox are preachers with Maddox isn't a preacher. He doesn't give a shit what happens to our soul.
I think Erica meant vindicated for her last word.
He just brought it on the heat problem and other things, but thinks eventually it will be. Yeah, eventually they'll figure it out. They'll come up with that model. But I would like to see them actually lay out and make one prediction for one geological formation based on that goddamn flood that's a little bit bigger than the Grand Canyon or one, column.
Well, they don't have a flood for the Grand Canyon. They just say it did because they don't even have a model for it.
Yeah. Yeah, what the fuck? I don't quite understand where all the they got a bunch of different colored rocks that they mixed up in a big shaker and it just layered out just like that.
Well, and the other thing is that Matt Powell says is, that the Grand Canyon didn't form over a very long time because there's no animal holes.
Yeah,
there's no animals. There's fossils all over the Grand Canyon.
No. He said no animal hole.
Yeah, there should be burrows,
like burrow holes and stuff.
I get this all the time. I don't understand why people. So part of the whole way a sediment turns into a rock is lithification and compaction. You got to squish it down, right?
Right.
What do you think is going to happen to the
burrow
fucking holes when you squish them?
That's right. That's what I didn't understand either. I mean,
can I quote you on that, RJ?
What do you want?
What do you think is going to happen to the fucking holes if you squish them?
Well, right. And then here's the other thing: is okay. I believe this is what he's thinking. It's like if the flood did it, well, then that would have washed away any of the chuck holes or burrow holes. But if it happened way over time, like science claims, well, then those would be preserved. But like you just said, it's compaction.
Yeah, and if the flood washes away these burrow holes or whatever, then why is the sediment still there? How is the flood? The flood only gets rid of this tiny little fraction of sand that somehow simultaneously deposited and is also compacting, while it's also metamorphing this other stuff at the same time.
Yeah.
Right.
Got really quiet.
Yeah, what happened, Speed? You didn't croak?
No, my fucking cat is fucking with me here.
I'm glad the camera's not on.
Yeah, I gotta kill the cat. I'm sorry. I don't want to kill the cat on camera. That would fuck this channel up bad.
Maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah, anyway. Yeah, got it. I got a book behind me on geophysics and a few on sedimentation and all of the stuff in there. Just all, I mean, it's all laid out so carefully. I mean, we know so much about that stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, so Dessel says in chat that, and I wonder if you could maybe Google this, Speed. He says, we have terrestrial burrow holes in strata. See Scott Buchanan's letters to creationists.
Yeah, there are some.
Yeah, they exist. They're common in sandstones, and they're exceptionally rare because they need to survive all the processes.
Right.
Like you see them in mineral museums for a reason.
But they can survive occasionally, but not that goddamn often.
Yeah, you think of them as fossils because they're basically fossils.
Yeah. Well, if you go in the backyard and dig down, if you got a good topsoil and you dig down, you don't find a lot of animal holes 3 feet down either. unless an animal currently dug one.
Yeah, there's a reason why we put supports in mines, right? Because
Yeah.
they collapse.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just when they spew that stuff out about geology, I mean, we need more geologists coming back at them with some really, like, who's that guy? Steve Ballman, I think it is, that goes out and shows you formations and shows you these intrusions and all of these, just immensely old forces, that twisted and turned out in Wisconsin. And you listen to that, and like even where I grew up, the iron mines in northern Minnesota, I mean, I spent a lot of time in ore pits, way down, 500 feet down, looking at rock walls and all those formations, and I didn't see anything that looked like it was laid down by a flood. I didn't see anything like the Grand Canyon with those clean little lines. And there's a lot of iron ore there, and iron ore takes bacteria a hell of a long time to shit out. It's just.
Andrew Cumming, just based on what Erica was just saying to you, yeah, he belittles people like Cy Gart and Dr. Josh, and fucking don't even worry about what the fuck LPP says.
Dan.
Dr. Dan, yeah, I mean he's an idiot. If he was like trying to make you feel like an idiot, that should be worn as a badge of honor because he's a fucking dolt.
Maddox, he learned about translation. He doesn't know a hell of a lot about transcription. And he learned about a few things, and he learned a few terms. And he watched some pretty lightweight MIT courseware, I think. And I don't think he took notes, but he didn't know any more than that. He didn't know anything deep. He doesn't know anything like the stuff I was showing you, Scott, before we went live with carbon chemistry. I bet he didn't know any of that shit.
Yeah.
And I know for sure that Otangelo doesn't, and even Cel Cordova doesn't. I taught him that stuff on a little stream, and it's like, so these guys don't have that rock solid basic knowledge that you get from actually doing the coursework, seriously.
Well, like I pointed out here a while back, I'm not going to name the name, because I don't want to out the individual, but I have it on good authority that recently, within the last 6 months, Standing for Truth had to ask somebody who was very biologically minded what alleles were. He's been doing this for how many years, and he didn't even know what an allele was.
Or how they worked. Yeah. Yep.
I guess I should point out, being the wannabe good guy in the room always, that, you don't want them to stop trying to learn. You kind of want them to stop considering themselves experts, right? I mean, I'm all for Maddox looking at those MIT shows and trying to learn something, but that doesn't mean you've disproven 100,000 scientists.
Yeah.
Well,
I watched the same thing.
Oh, I'm sorry, Lou. Who's doing really good with that though lately, according to most of the people in the room, because I can only take their word for it, is that young kid that was.
Oh, the dinosaur dude.
Who's that? The really young one.
No, the one that his parents are such fucksticks. They've come into streams and stuff before and been in the live chat. Man, he used to go on Knox channel all the time, and
that Jeremy guy or Jonathan?
No, not Jeremy. Jonathan. Yep, Jonathan Guzman. That's it right there.
Oh, that guy. Okay.
Jonathan Guzman. Yeah, he actually is learning stuff, but when he comes on different streams, he presents himself differently.
Well, because he hasn't let go of the YECs yet. He's like he's like in transition right now. So
yeah, to old Earth creationism. Yeah, and he's a very intelligent kid, and he when he does make that transition, he might actually be he might be like Cy Gart, a breath of fresh air.
Yeah,
and Cy Gart is definitely a breath of fresh air. The man has his mind is wide open on all of this stuff, and he's very much a Christian and very solid, but he has a very open mind. When you talk to him, he doesn't come up with all these little one-off bullshit things and think that ends the conversation. He actually wants to explore it.
You have to know he's open-minded because his name's Cy Gart and he's a Christian.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so nice when you don't have to try to fight silver bullets. That's
Yep.
you can have a conversation. That's so efficient.
Yeah, because every silver bullet you got to go and look up all kinds of shit. Orge, you ought to do a how did the flood create this sort of thing on various geological formations? It would be interesting.
Erica's doing some of them already. I got into a little comments feud with George Bond and SFT on Erica's limestone thing. They tried to get me to debate one of their PhD creationists.
Yeah, he actually has that lined up, I think. They're doing something on limestone here on the 26th. Let me check it out here.
So actually, Andrew Cumming had thrown that name in the chat before any of us said it. Thomas and Kuzma, and Doubting Thomas was trying to guess, and he said Von Helton.
Oh God, I love
And,
that.
and then he qualified his answer. He said, "I just heard parent and fuck stick."
I gotta mute my mic for a little bit, guys. So just like
Okay. Good enough.
Hey. Erica says she's having some geologists on her channel in the next month.
Damn, I want to see some of that. Refuting the critics. Okay, where's the limestone stuff I saw? He had something. Okay, let's see. Science. Oh, I wasn't sure about that. So this is the flood stuff. So he's got something coming up on the 25th with Joseph Hubbard, whoever in the hell that is.
Never heard that name before.
Another tool for creationism. Limestone, the
Is
fossil
that the guy
record.
right there?
Yeah. Yeah.
So the guy's a wannabe Indiana Jones, it looks like.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, he's
the
some sort of geologist talking head that they found recently. They've had him on once before, I think.
Looks like a kumquat.
Yep.
What aisle are the kumquats in?
I have no idea.
Oh, wait a minute. I
I'm
missed
assuming
him.
fruits and vegetables.
Epigenetics and evolution, Andrew.
This is actually a pretty good question.
Actually, epigenetics is important in that it allows a variant to survive for some number of generations. And like for fungi, epigenetic modifications were inherited for hundreds of generations, but that is not the rule. Usually epigenetic modifications get kicked around after about 3 or 4 generations. But what they do allow is for a variant to survive possibly long enough for that variant to adapt to a different environment, that sort of thing. So epigenetics, but the problem with epigenetics is that epigenetics is basically, you could replace that word with cell biology, because epigenetics now covers every goddamn mechanism for expressing a gene. That it is so wide right now that a lot of people don't even like to use the term anymore. So,
I'm sorry, I have to ask this. So, Stephanie, you're confusing me more than normal today.
really,
Yeah, it's.
do they all of Antarctica is covered in 2 to 3 miles of water? It is.
Well, she's saying water, but she's alluding to the fact that it's covered in that much ice, which is frozen water.
Oh, wait a minute. Otanzo is going to straighten this out here on epigenetics.
The only thing I read of that was the first 3 letters or first 3 words, and I was just like, "There's no need to go any further."
Yeah.
I think we should look into this.
That sentence, actually, I can finish that sentence without even reading further than the first 3 words. Instructional complex information. Good. All right.
Sorry, John, but I got to do it. I got to do it.
No, that's fine. I have no problem being preempted by that. Okay, so here's how I would end that sentence. Instructional complex information is to be found nowhere in Otangelo's mind. That's my sentence.
I don't know if Doubting Thomas is still in the live chat, but if he is, he should ask Otangelo if he believes gravity can affect gases.
Yeah, we should find out if
I still want an answer to that question before anything else. I want to know if he thinks gravity can affect gases.
That's all we want to know, Tangelo. We don't want to know
really-
what you think of epigenetics. Another unexpected finding from the study: species have very clear genetic boundaries. What?
You know why he doesn't think gravity has any effect on gases? It's because he's farted in the bathtub before. That's clear. Sure.
So what paper are you talking about, Otangelo?
Nope, it doesn't matter. Does gravity affect gases? That's the first question that we need an answer to.
I always like to know which one. Oh, and here is Nathan R.
Epigenetics kills evolution?
Cool, but does gravity affect gases?
No on the water claim, guys. There was no ice at the poles during the Triassic, and we still had land. So that's Erica. Oh, antacid gravity.
Acid gravity?
I think he's referring to the what John said about the bathtub. I'm not sure.
Oh, okay.
Did you ever notice bathtub farts smell like broccoli?
I don't like to think about those things, John.
No, I don't take baths, so I don't know what bath smell.
Well, I haven't taken a bath for probably 25, 30 years, but yeah, that was one of the suckiest things about back when I grew up is not everybody had a shower, and taking a bath in your own fucking filthy water is the most disgusting thing ever.
I do that almost like every day.
Yeah, I know. That's one thing we can't believe about you, Speed.
I have a whirlpool, and I go in there and I read papers and sitting there and just
Well, right, and I'd be down with that if after doing that you stood up, drained the bathtub, and turned the shower on, just like you take a shower after swimming.
Is your body that fucking dirty that it's gonna, that there's gonna be that much dirt in that water?
Dude, it doesn't matter how much dirt is on your body. If you get into a bathtub and wash yourself, that dirt is in the water you're sitting in.
Okay, and then it's diluted all over hell, and some of that dirt is good for you. Ashley, you got to have a microbiome.
Well, no, I'm not balking at the idea of getting dirty or being dirty. I'm saying that if your endeavor is to get clean, a bathtub is not the right fucking tool.
Well, I have the best comeback ever. The most common cause of death in the home is slipping in the shower.
Well, that's why you buy the little sticky fucking gritty things. That's you just got to be smarter than the bathtub.
We'll see who lives longer, John.
Well, I'm never going to be as old as you.
Yeah, probably not.
Well, no, I'm just saying. I mean, no matter what happens, you're always going to be 13 years older than I am.
It is true that I am always leaps and bounds ahead of all of you fuckers.
Oh, okay. No. What came first, the supernova or the star? Science claims the stars due to the force of the, and he ended right there.
What came first?
Anybody ever raise the question real quick? Why this dude, are these creationist geology people or always feel like they have to dress like Indiana Jones?
It's a thing, isn't it? It's weird.
Yeah, Ian Jubilee used to do that back in the day too.
Well, yeah, the reason that they do that is the weaker their degrees, the more they will dress up, like Kent Hovind with his stethoscope and his microscope that he's always looking at, which doesn't even he doesn't even have a light on that microscope, and it's like he's always open. I should open every day looking at my microscope back here, I think, with a stethoscope on. And what the fuck do you need a stethoscope for if you're looking at
You got to be able to hear the rocks, right?
I hear the rocks. Anyway,
That's how the real geologists do it.
yeah, I don't know. Anyway, what else is going on in the community? So Rage is taking a break.
Rage is taking a couple month break. By the time he comes back, we'll have our new channel put together and on the air. Dr. Josh Bowen has already agreed to be one of our first guests. And I'm still, Tangelo, you had already agreed to this. So, yeah, it's going to be a little delay on our new channel. But again, you promised that the 2 debates we were going to have could be on our new channel. So,
Can I debate Odie on your channel? I want to debate him on whether or not gravity acts on gases.
oh, absolutely.
Okay, that sounds cool.
Since he won't answer the question, unfortunately.
Depends on if there is mass. Yes.
Gases are massive. So yeah. Wait, did Otangelo think that gases were like radiation?
No, because Vesta put the question in the chat. Otangelo Grasso, does gravity affect gases? Otangelo's answer: it depends if there is mass. Yes.
Yeah.
He's saying gravity does affect gases, but last night he said they didn't.
Hashtag gases mass.
Yeah, Otangelo, hate to break it to you, but the different gases have different masses. That's
Gases,
Yeah, you can just look at one and go check out that gas's mass. That's a nice mass right there. Oh yeah.
I don't know. So anyway, your new channel.
the gases of the space is not gas, it's matter.
What?
Stephanie? Matter,
They're just out there.
Gas is a form of matter, Stephanie.
yeah, it's protons, electrons, neutrons. They just have properties that keep them at room temperature.
Is there a car alarm going off in somebody's background right now?
Yeah, it's in the neighborhood. Sorry about that.
No, I think that's coming from Org. He has like an idiot alarm that goes off when people say stuff like Otangelo's saying in the chat. And
I
Hashtag
can't
no
follow these arguments. What is Stephanie even saying?
Oh, no.
Okay, now you got to look deeper with Stephanie because the gas. What did she say?
the gases of the space, the gases of the space is not gas; it's matter.
I think what she meant is that the gases of space matter, that they really matter. You got to look deeper with Stephanie. The gases, nebulae.
Yes, nebulae are made up of gases and dust, but those are from exploding stars, right?
Yep. But it's deeper with Stephanie. You got to go a couple layers deeper. We got to get Danny in to analyze Stephanie.
Don't say his name again.
Danny, watch.
Danny Banani.
I'm testing it, John. I'm just testing the hypothesis. Does that fucking work? Because we don't even have to say Otangelo anymore, and he shows up.
He just shows up. Is Otangelo still been doing his after show to this show every day?
No, I don't think
no,
so.
He
doesn't have the stamina we do.
It takes a lot of fucking stamina to do a show every day at 2:00. Although 7 fucking days away. I'm going to take a day off at some point and let you guys do this.
I mean, actually, you should probably take Saturdays off anyway because you do SNATA at night. So
Yeah, I know. Yeah. What day is it today?
Saturday.
Oh my God. How did it get to be Saturday again? It was just Saturday like fucking 6 days ago.
Yeah, that's the way it works.
How does that happen? What's happening?
Entropy, my friend.
You're moving through time.
God damn it. I don't want to. I'm going to die.
Well, hey, you're 70. I'm 57. Have you ever, broken it to the youngins in the house? How much faster time's going to move when they get approach our age?
Yeah, it goes really fast.
Maybe.
Actually, last Saturday, what happened last Saturday? Sonata last Saturday what Saturday was it that we had the Sonata that I had to take down? Was that 2 weeks ago? That was last Saturday?
Mm-hmm.
That seems like a fucking month to me.
And you sent me a link and I still didn't go watch it.
So that's not always true, John. If you're really, really busy and your life is packed with shit, and you remember some of that stuff, or you take the time to review it, time goes slower. The problem with old people is that they usually get so accustomed to habit that they forget to actually enjoy life or actually feel life happening. And so it seems to go faster and faster because nothing fucking eventful happens. I mean, there's that kid that was on my lawn, on Wednesday, and I had to fucking chase his ass off. And that was it. That was my whole life. Chase the kid off my lawn, So, I mean.
Are you turning into Herbert?
Yeah. Putting kids on my lawn. Actually, I went out to get the mail, and somebody walked into my yard, and I watched their tracks, and I wanted to see if they went down the hill, because usually some people like to cut across my yard to go down into the valley, and I shoot at them. And this one just looked around for a while, and you could see the footprints, and then he turned around, and I'm not sure what he was looking at. Maybe my raccoons, I don't know. Maybe it wasn't threatening, but anyway. Being on YouTube, I pay attention to that kind of shit.
My neighbor across the street, here like a week or two ago, he just happened to be looking out the window, and somebody stopped and let their dog shit in his front lawn, and and then walked on. And so he went out there with like one of those like convenience store plastic bags, picked the shit up, and followed the person halfway down the block and threw it at their head.
To him?
No, threw it at their head.
Oh my God. Well, that would be assault, but.
Well, yeah, no, I guess for sure.
Yeah, I long for the days where we used to be like when I was a kid. When you went on, Rita Spolrich was a big, huge woman.
Rita Spolrich.
Rita Spolrich. And she had a junkyard, and her husband was extremely feminine. And Rita was this big, boomy voiced woman. And you'd go there and you'd see legs sticking out from under a car, and you'd expect it to be Tommy Spolrich, but it was Rita. Tommy was in the house making dinner, and Rita would be under the car pulling out a fucking transmission. Wow. Anyway, we would walk by her junkyard at night on the fucking highway, and she would get the shotgun out and shoot at us. So we were dodging pellets, in the ditch, and we had to sneak past Rita's because when I grew up, they would actually shoot at you when you went on their property. And my dad used to shoot at people all the time. And it was, in fact, he shot at a Mountain Iron sheriff one day, and the sheriff was out there yelling, "Charlie, Charlie, it's me!" It's like, it was funny as shit. But my dad just get the rifle out and he'd start shooting if you were on his land, and that's the way it was. And you know what? When I grew up, there was only one person that got shot the whole time I was growing up. It was some assholes had a fight in a bar, and one of them shot the other in the belly. But there were no murders, and that's just the way things were run. And when you were a kid, you knew not to go on anybody's fucking property.
Yeah, there was no murders. No white people got murdered.
And you would never, ever consider going in somebody's house at night. You would get your ass shot so fast that if you even went on their driveway and made their dog bark, your life was threatened, So we all got. But Rita would shoot at us on the highway, and I always wanted to talk to her about that and say, Rita, it's a fucking public highway. You can't shoot kids for walking by your farm on the highway.
Last fucking summer, I'm taking my walk, and I was in this, pretty nice neighborhood around here. And there was a dumpster in front of somebody's house because they were doing work on it. And there was 2 aluminum ladders on top of everything in the dumpster sticking out the end. And I'm like, fuck, they can't be throwing them away, are they? And then so I walked up the driveway, and the garage was like on the back of the house. So you'd walk up the driveway, and then it shot to the left to go in the garage. So I couldn't see in it when I walked up the driveway. I walked up the driveway because I was going to ask him, because if those things weren't a garbage, I was going to take them. And I get up the end of the driveway, and I see there's people in the garage. I'm like, hey, how you doing today? And these 2 little yippy frickin' sausage dogs, or whatever you call them, wiener dogs, come running out at me. And the one ran right up and just like took a big hunk out of my fucking chin, man, or out of my shin. Fucking bit a big fucking hole in it, man. And And the woman's just like, "Oh wow, I'm so sorry." You know, like you could probably see her light flashing before I was thinking I'm a sewer or something. I'm like, "Nah, it's no problem. Like I'm the one who came on your property." You know, like
Yeah. Those dogs. That was their ladder, man.
well, right. I mean, and then it turned out that the people that were doing the work just put them up there to get them out of the way for the night. Yeah, I mean, now if that woman hadn't have been there with him, that dog might have got kicked.
I have two 12 gauges loaded with buckshot. He was asking about me with a shotgun. I want to get a 12 gauge automatic. I was going to put that on my Christmas list this year.
I want one of those 12 gauges with the big fucking barrel on the bottom of it.
Oh yeah,
that has like fucking 50 rounds in it.
We moved into this rental house back in, 2000, something like that, or 1999. And there was a nickel-plated shotgun there, 12-gauge shotgun. And we loaded it up, and my friend took it out. We were on my hobby farm, and he shot it. And he pulled the trigger, and it went boom, 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 boom. The guy had it set up so that it was full auto.
Oh, my God.
Unfortunately, he the next day he said, "Hey, we left a shotgun in the house. Did you find it?" And we had to fess up and give it to him. God, that was interesting. But I mean, that thing would shoot 7 shots, just boom, 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 boom. Like if you held the trigger down, it would take about 3 seconds to have 7 shots off.
So has this stream devolved into 2 boomers trading stories?
Yes, it has.
Yeah, I think so. So anyway,
I enjoyed the trip to Mayberry. Thank you very much.
well, kids, what the fuck do you got? What do you got to add today?
We've had 2 different videos up, and we haven't watched either of any. We haven't watched any of either of them.
Because we're actually watching this one, but we have to wait for 5 days before it starts.
Yeah, but I meant the one you had up.
But the other 2 you had up earlier, though.
I only had one up.
Yeah, and you had it set up and paused, and
Well, no, you had one set up and paused, and then you brought another one up after that. You showed part of one, and then you went to another, or else you went further along in that one or something.
I didn't realize you guys wanted to review the video.
Well, wasn't there. I didn't know what happened. I was just hoping to hear some really dumb shit and laugh at it.
Like, this is Answers in Atheism.
Well, I didn't know you wanted to listen to more Standing for Truth's Wisdom. We got the John Maddox, Andrew Cummings thing coming up.
Yeah.
We could listen to that.
See, I told you brought up a second video.
That's the first video. I've only had 2 videos up, kids.
Anyway,
Right. No, you've had 3 videos up because you just had the one up that doesn't start for a few days. You have this one up now, and before you had SFT up with only 4 people in the room.
No, this is SFT here. This is the same video.
Only further along.
Yes.
So I'm gonna head out, guys. I gotta finish up my spaghetti sauce for dinner. So
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
that's a likely story.
So, Jorge, think about doing some geology videos. It'd be kind of cool.
and he's
he
gone.
went away.
And he's gone.
Fucking spaghetti sauce.
He heard that spaghetti sauce calling.
Mhm.
I mean, you have to. Like, how much work is there to get spaghetti sauce ready? Don't you just open a jar?
Oh, fuck that.
Fill that thing open.
Oh, what? No, nobody eats raw horse meat. Ugh.
What? That's gross.
Jerry Penna says Benghazi Japanese eat raw horse meat, and I've had it. Ugh.
That's nasty.
My first car, 62 Chevy Impala Super Sport with a high performance 327. Somebody was asking. Okay, enough boomer shit. Okay, where's the video? Okay, let's see. So Andrew's talking and LPP enters the room.
And the myth, the legend himself. So here we go. Party begins.
Oh, wait a minute. Fuck.
I don't know why I keep getting all these ego boosts. I'm already arrogant enough, so I'm told.
Hey, LPP, how dare you call me out earlier on my chapstick? It's cold over here in Canada.
Okay, it's cold everywhere. Bro, cycle this guy. This is too good.
especially because it's my wife. So,
Nice. Okay, so Andrew, do you think that lungs were devised from one gene?
What the fuck?
What kind of question is that?
My guess would probably be no.
Okay, so I mean, obviously the answer is no. And there's multiple different proteins and regulatory elements that are required for its production. And that's just what we've discovered so far. We're just finding more and more things. So if we know beyond doubt that there are a plethora of different functional sequences that are required to work in conjunction.
Plethora in
Both
conjunction.
separately and in conjunction. How do you think it's plausible that you don't have to have all of them simultaneously when everything that we...
Okay, you notice this fucker's vocabulary consists of about 100 words.
Well, right.
And he's like Arcangelo.
He's using the words because he learned some good words that make him sound like he knows what he's talking about.
Right.
And he's deluded himself into thinking he does know what he's talking about.
I mean, it just gets. I wanted to do like a word analysis. There's this software that determines how many times you use certain words in big documents, and it counts them. And on his stuff, it would be interesting to see how it profiles compared to how a normal person talks. But I'm sure to. And then I was thinking of getting those phrases and words and creating a John bot or a Maddox bot. I'm sorry, John.
Yeah, that's right.
We'll call it an ox bot. So I think with like 50 lines of Python, I could create an ox bot, and it would actually string together sentences like John strings together. And at some point, maybe with another 50 lines of code, you would not be able to tell the difference between my ox bot and the real Maddox.
I don't know whether programming could get the snide, condescending tone down pat.
I know that's the problem. That's what I got to work on. Well, I could clip his words and have the Oxbot just, use John's voice and just put it together like Siri does,
Yeah.
Yeah, I could do that.
But speed. But atheists, of course, have all the answers and think they are in the position to laugh at theists. Precious.
Yes, Otangelo, we are laughing our asses off every time you guys start talking. I swear.
Yeah, when you say that gravity doesn't affect gas.
Like, either I'm laughing or I'm fucking crying for the fate of the human race, because your idea about genetic entropy and intelligence like dropping off in the human race, creationists prove it. I mean, you're like proof of your own concept. Every time they start talking about how humans are getting dumber, I'm thinking, yep, I'm with you. I've been listening to you for half an hour, and I'm pretty sure you're right. It's like, oh, fuck.
The accretion hypothesis is true.
Oh, my God, what the fuck?
He's mocking us. Said we don't have the answers, but the accretion hypothesis is true.
Accretion isn't a hypothesis. We've watched accretion happen in real time.
Yeah. Well, not in real time, but in real time.
Well,
Okay.
I mean, in real time, we've seen it happening directly.
Well, right. We've seen an accretion disk forming that formed a long time ago, though.
Yeah, but we're still watching it happen. So it's not like we're looking back at something that's no longer happening and inferring that it did. That's what I meant by real time. Like we actually.
No, we're looking at something that did happen. That it did already happen.
Well, yeah, but not relative to us. Relative to us, it's happening now. That's why we're seeing it now.
Okay, so let's listen to some more.
Wait a minute. Wait. Before we move on, I want to get this straight, because either I'm way missing something here, or Leo's got a different way of looking at that. If you're watching something that is several thousand light years away, it happened 1,000 years ago, and we're just seeing it now because it took that long for the light to get here.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
But we're still seeing that event actually play out, right?
Play out, but not in real time.
Well, that's what it means in real time, is that we're actually watching these things happen. We're not inferring that they're
While
happening.
they're happening. Real time,
Well,
maybe real time means something different in science. Maybe that's where my problem
We've
is.
seen photographs of every stage of star genesis, basically.
Well, we've also monitored the accretion of material onto objects like in real time. I don't know what else.
Angelo, how do I know that John Maddox does not know what he is talking about if you have no clue on the subject? First of all, I never said I had no clue on the subject. I'm saying I'm just very much less learned than most of the folks in this room right now. Secondly, anybody with very, very little knowledge on the subject just has to listen to John Maddox to know that he doesn't know what he's talking about. I mean,
Okay. Otangelo. Okay, I want to mention that Andrew Cumming is a very brilliant high school student,
Mhm.
and Otangelo thinks he's stalking him. And what we're listening to here is John Maddox, a 36-year-old adult, condescend to a young man who's brilliant, whose brain is about 50 times bigger than Maddox. And so we'll listen to a little more of that. But this is child abuse in action. I'm sorry,
Child abuse in real time.
real time. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Necessitates them working in conjunction and interdependently.
Right. Well, I guess I would disagree with the premise that they would have to arise in this circumstance.
Well, if they weren't useful in the individual stages along the pathway to get to a fully functional lung, they would get selected out because they're wasteful.
Right. Right.
So
Oh, go ahead.
I mean, I think you understand that's what we're saying. That's what LPP is saying. It has to be functional along the entire way and useful, or it gets selected out.
Oh,
right.
It's not even just the selected out part. It's like you die. I mean, obviously, the selected out portion comes from death, but the point I'm making is I'm asking you, Andrew, not a hypothetical, right? We're talking about a known real world reality. I mean, we get all sorts of genetic diseases where you have a point mutation in just one of the sequences that's necessary for XYZ function, right?
Hey, can you stop it?
You mean foreskin?
Point mutation.
Well, I thought you said you didn't want to use that anymore.
No, I didn't say that. Fucking CRISPR said that.
Well, okay, yeah, okay. I thought you were agreeing with what I said. Okay, look, so I know there's something wrong with what he just said, but I can't see what it is. But he basically just implied that if a mutation towards some like new organ or process in the body, if it wasn't fully functional at the time of the initial mutation, then it would be taken out of it. Would like just stop working. Like in other words, like when the first lungs were forming or something, if it wasn't a fully functional lung, then it would just get tossed aside by the organism. What's wrong with what he's saying there? Because that can't be right.
Okay.
Well, think about lungfish. I mean, you have fish that can breathe out of water, and they can also survive underwater. And
the development of lungs, like fish. I think one of the possibilities, or one of the favorite theories, is that the fish ingested bubbles to affect their buoyancy, and eventually, those bubbles had oxygen in them, and they started absorbing, and eventually there were changes, and I think that particular feature of fish ended up being the pathway to an evolution of a lung. And then some fish got so that they could, there was selected pressure to survive in shallow streams that dried up occasionally. And so basically breathing became more and more of a adaptive advantage. And then we had lungfish and fish that, developed lungs. Eventually the gills went away, or some of them changed into jaws. And I don't know. There's a path, but anyway, what is wrong with what John said is that when you study genetics, there's mutations. Not every mutation is going to get selected out at all. There are neutral mutations, and there are a lot of them. Then there is gene duplication, and there are all sorts of other. There's in eukaryotes there is intron splicing, so that you can have a gene that duplicated and had a protein in it, had a certain protein, and then it spliced a little bit differently and created an entirely new functional protein that did something entirely different.
So,
But
and then
very
okay,
complicated.
on a macro level, though, what you're saying. So, like, okay, so along the deep time that evolution happened in a particular organism, there could have been a mutation that wasn't useful at the time, but it didn't get selected out. And then it was still around when another mutation came along, and then maybe then it was useful.
Yeah, the fish could still breathe through gills, and they could also breathe through these, prototype lungs, and that just kept developing and became more and more advantageous, and it's obvious if you look at the way the Earth works. Lakes dry up, streams dry up, things get shallow. There's an obvious advantage to being able to do both at the same time, and eventually something crawled out of the water.
So he's absolutely wrong that mutations that have no use at the time they come about and aren't selected out for. That doesn't mean they're not going to have a use somewhere down the line of the evolutionary process.
Yeah, and they're not. They will disappear. Okay, if they're neutral mutations, that's what we were talking about last night. A neutral mutation does not affect the phenotype one way or the other, not significantly enough to get selected out. Right? It doesn't kill the organism, and it doesn't give the organism some great advantage. So we have 3.2 billion. Nucleotides in our genome, 6.4 altogether, and a lot of those, like 90% of those, are not lethal if they change. So we have all of this, and I liken it to having a huge garage with a whole bunch of spare parts in it that you don't use ordinarily, but then one day, all of a sudden you have to solve a problem, and you go into your garage and you find this C-clamp and you find this cutting tool and you cobble together something, and that's kind of what happened. So
Yeah, I mean, the analogy I was like formulating in my head is like, so I mutate and have a bunch of Phillips head screws, and then like a year and I have no use for them, but then a year later I mutate a Phillips head screwdriver, and now I know what to do with them.
Yep, exactly. Yeah.
Speed.
Yeah.
Speed, why was Otangelo hidden?
He's hidden?
Yeah, do you want me to unhide him?
Yeah, who hit him?
Jerry.
Oh, yeah, I took Otangelo's eventually. Okay, don't hide Otangelo. Well, Jerry gets tired of Otangelo spamming, so.
Well, he doesn't have a wrench, so he can't put links in.
Yeah. Yeah, but so now he spams with text, but we can tolerate a little Otangelo. We got a lot of I've got a couple of terabytes of disk space. On
handle a little bit of O.
Yeah,
can handle a little.
I mean, Otangelo is useful because he provides contrast for smart people.
I snorted a little O every day,
Okay.
Yeah.
Some good shit.
Yeah, it's just like me. All right, I have my high school, my senior picture, and every once in a while, after I look in the mirror, I go look at that just to cleanse my palate and remind me that one time I was good looking. And same thing with Otangelo. We gotta suffer some Otangelo to realize that we're not all that bad.
Yep, that's the way it works. Okay, a little more.
A little more mad ducks.
Cascade collapse of all of the different components that need to work in unison. So if we observe this in real time as being the end outcome,
He said it in real time.
if you don't have these things in the first place, Like, how do you actually think it's plausible? Again, how do you think it's plausible? Not hypothetical. Not just,
Plausible.
oh, well, if all these things all happen to happen in the appropriate order perfectly, we could somehow result in this. I'm talking about in the real world. Because I feel like when I listen to you talk a lot, it's like you operate in this like hypothetical bubble that's separated from reality.
Okay, so the question is how I
It wasn't a
I
question,
guess
was it?
how these genes evolved. I don't quite understand the question because I feel that, for instance, the main mechanism for the kind of change we're talking about morphologically is not necessarily, because if you're talking about developmental genes, for instance, genes that control the major body plans, I would agree.
Somebody said, "Call me
that
emo." Wants to
changing
win.
an amino acid of that transcription factor is likely going to cause more damage than it's going to create. And I think that's why most changes being discovered so far are not necessarily in the developmental genes themselves, because it can be hard to I guess differentiate between the two.
Do you understand that what we're talking about is not like a protein change? We're talking about something. We're talking about an entirely different cell type.
This is
What?
the
Right. Well,
Wait, hold
go
on. What?
Argotha is the second box of rocks in the room. And
I did want to point something out there. If you can think back to how John was speaking and then how Andrew responded, the way it sounded, I mean, Andrew sounded kind of like what I hear from like actual like people who have graduate degrees in this when they respond to somebody. Say they don't understand the question and then say, well, if you're talking about this, that, and the other, and then explaining how it doesn't matter because you're still going to be wrong. That's exactly how Andrew responded. That was brilliant.
Well, and you know what else I got was like a little vibe of not that Andrew was being condescending or anything, but I also got a vibe of like a parent trying to explain something to their child.
yeah, it's like, okay, that question is so stupid, John, or Maddox, that I don't even understand what the fuck you're talking about. And then Argotha comes in, oh, a brand new cell type develops. It's like, oh my God. It's like these guys, I think they actually, when they think about evolution, one time they were talking late night and Praise and John were talking. And then Nephilim came in and they were actually talking about, yeah, one day the pond dried up and a fish grew lungs and legs and crawled out. I mean, they actually think you could observe this shit in what does John call it? Known real working reality, he called it. Like we can actually see this happen.
Hey, real quick. So, and just asking people in the room, even Danny can answer. I'm sure he'll back Otangelo up. But so is the only thing I offer to this broadcast name calling?
Yeah.
Hi guys. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Emo. I'm going to crank you up a little bit. Oh wow, you don't have any chickens in the background.
So nobody wants to answer that question. Nobody wants to answer his question.
You can hear me more than that.
All right, thank you, Danny, for being the only one to back me up there. Nobody wants to answer his question. Well, and then the reason I bring it up is then the reason I bring that up is after he posted that, he posted, "No factory has ever built itself, yada yada yada." Otangelo, it seems like you're the one who only offers one thing over and over again. But
yeah,
all right, that's it.
Anyway, okay, Emo wanted to say something. Did you? I thought you did. Emo, are you there?
I think he's got a delay, honestly.
Yeah, he's got a delay, so we have to be careful not to over talk him. So, but he's on mute for some reason. Unmute and give us a warning because you have a bit of a delay. So, should we play the video?
Mic is muted.
There you are.
Oh, come on.
Can kind of hear you.
Did you turn them up?
I turned them up.
Oh. What are you doing with this robot?
Are these having issues? There's a really bad
Hello?
connection. Yeah, hello. Wait a minute. Are you talking to somebody else?
Well, it's not freezing again.
There's a really bad connection.
Yeah, how about
Yeah,
that?
hello.
Can you hear me?
No, we
Yeah.
can. Yeah. Go ahead. No, we can.
I
Yeah.
think he's got a bad delay.
Oh, okay. Good. So the
Go
argument,
ahead.
right? The argument John is making here is the same argument that Neff made. So they go on and on about the number of changes that is required for whatever given change, the genetic or morphological, whatever. The point is the question asked is not necessarily a question. The argument is bad. What's happening?
Sure, the robot now.
is the change actually happening the way they're asking for it to happen. Where John Locke, for example, Neff, we was talking about. Remember the argument he made about morphological changes?
Robot now.
How many changes are required for an organ to add a muscle or additional bone or whatever? You would need to add the bone and the muscles and the nerves and all the wiring to the brain and so on. It actually happens in the exact same way described.
Is he roboting for anybody else or just?
Yes, he is very badly.
I can't really understand what he's saying. And his delay is like
Yeah, but talking over him isn't helping, Leo. Emo, we're having a hell of a time making out what you're saying. I heard most of it, but I'm so. Go ahead.
That's okay. Yeah, that's the reason why I don't join too much streams. But basically, if I was to take John's argument as he's making it now, then it would be possible to derive from wolves or any breed of chickens or any breed of pig, or to domesticate any crop, because the changes he's talking about is required to get, for example, a pug from a wolf. You would need thousands of coordinated changes.
Yeah.
That's the point. So
Okay.
Whenever it brings up that kind of argument, they ask them, how do you get dogs from if not by all these coordinates?
Yeah, have you seen a wolf evolve into a dog or
sometimes you get one change would get kind of cascaded. One change influences another change.
Okay, your audio is indecipherable, Emo.
Like 1,000 changes in just one generation, one organism.
Emo, we're only getting about every third word. Emo, we're only getting about every third word.
Yeah, and there's a delay.
So his delay is like 10 seconds or more.
Yeah. So Emo, we're having a hell of a time understanding you. Maybe post in chat or something, and we can figure it out. But anyway,
say and repeat clear and loud. Machines and factories can self-assemble by chance. That's not what I'm saying, Otangelo. That's not what anybody's been saying to you for literally a year now. Okay, what we're saying is that when scientists use the words machines and factories, it is a fucking metaphor, dude. It's a simile. It's not a literal. Does he have that article that you guys were passing around? The dude that just recently put the article out about how those words are bad for science?
Yeah, I have actually a really good quote from that article too.
God.
Do we go on with the video?
Yeah, sure.
Yes, we do.
We could.
I was going to say, Andrew, have you heard of the Richard Lenski experiment on E. coli?
Oh, fuck.
Yes, it's not my most
who said
looked
that?
into example.
Okay. I just wanted to see if you had information on it, because
Pigs
I
can
had
fly.
Well, more or less, I had a debate with a PhD biologist by the name of Dr. Ling about that particular experiment. She posted it as the best evolutionary evidence to date, And so I went and did the research, looked into the documents that she gave me, and then I looked into further documents regarding the experiment later dated. And it turns out, so from the initial onset, what they did is they took E. coli, they put it in a culture genome. I guess it's supposed to read the genome within this like spinning device. And they had went through about 30,000 different generations before they got a functional change in the genome. Now, what they thought was a functional change was actually already pre-existing information in the genome after the fact that they didn't realize was there from the beginning. It was in the intergenic regions, and it had been, it actually had been placed within a broken gene. It basically lost the ability for it to use its flagellum, and that gene that was intergenic was placed in the broken genetic area there. So that's what allowed it to apparently digest citrate, and then that.
I don't think that is the case. There was a duplication of the gene for digesting citrate, and the regulatory part of the part that gets turned on or off with oxygen was not duplicated, so it was always on. So then, but the thing about the Lenski experiment is they're not trying to evolve a caterpillar or a bug or a frog. They are watching what happens in a controlled, very, very controlled environment to how E. coli changes over time. And they've learned a hell of a lot about it. And you would have to vary the environment considerably to find any really unique things, but they have to be careful. I mean, it's a pretty controlled experiment. And Lenski's written like 200 and some papers about, what happens, and they're interested in it because this has a strong relationship to modern medicine. And that's and they use this Lenski and this one thing, the citrate. Basically, when they first came out and they found, all they knew is that now all of a sudden they had one species of E. coli that thrived even when the glucose ran out, and they were excited about it, and they published a paper, and they've been beating them over the head with that paper ever since, because later on they found out that it was a gene duplication. It wasn't a de novo gene. But they have a whole hell of a lot of work to find out what is going on in Lenski's E. coli. And he's saved every generation. So for the next 50 years, they're going to be figuring out what happened. But these guys love the Lenski experiment. Anyway.
That's essentially how the change was effectively made there.
It had nothing to do with a flagellum, I don't think.
Again, they didn't find that out until later. So they assumed that this was just evidence that there can be hard changes through mutations like that. And even Richard Lenski had to recant on that notion after going back through the genomic information that was gathered from the initial genotype.
Was it E. coli that had the ability to digest nylon before nylon was invented?
I'm not sure.
I don't believe so. I think it's a different bacteria.
No, that's a different bacteria.
Nylonase. It was nylonase. But here's the thing with nylon. It's made from oil. So the actual bacteria digested oil. So therefore, it could also digest nylon and other polyurethane things.
Okay, but there was a little more to the nylon story, too. There actually was basically evolutionary progress in dissolving nylon, but I would have to look into it. But that's another one that they misuse and misrepresent. So anyway,
right.
No change.
The reason why I bring that up, though, Andrew, was just that even that Dr. Ling had to go back and say, okay, well, I apologize. I didn't see this other new document, and I'm wrong, basically. So I wasn't sure if you had known that or had gone over any of that information. But even like PhD biologists aren't looking at all the data. They're just looking at what they might already have seen beforehand, and they're not always getting up to date on their information for some of this stuff.
Right. Of course. Yeah.
So, quick question for you, Andrew. So, you talked about like regulatory factors and different things, regulatory genes and such. What is your knowledge on like how cell types are specified?
like in terms of embryonic development?
Yeah, but I mean, like, what is the actual functions that and actions that result in the cell type being specified, going from stem cell to a specific cell type? Like, do you know how that actually is happening? Like, what's being delineated inside the cell?
Delineated?
Right. Well, isn't it specific factors within the I guess the cells in a sense are communicating with each other using these.
No. Inside the cell itself, do you know what the action is?
Oh,
that is
inside the
resulting, that's causing the cell type specificity.
Right. Or you're talking about the proteins binding to the DNA elements, right?
Well, I mean, there is protein binding, but I mean, like, do you like? I'm asking you, like, please delineate your knowledge on how that's actually occurring. Like, what is being done, and is it?
Yeah, I got to
protein
change my
dependent?
name.
Is it?
Yep.
Based on like just genes.
Well, I mean, I already changed it a little bit.
How is the cell type actually being specified?
Right. Well, I guess my knowledge on it is that you have these transcription factors that basically, along with, I guess there are many involved, but they bind to specific DNA sites, and that helps to promote, or I guess silence in a sense, the transcription of those genes, basically under cis-regulatory changes, I believe.
Well, I mean, the transcription factors, that's like the next stage. That's the expression level of, I'm talking about like what is being executed in order for the transcription factors to have different.
I think John is. Andrew went over his head, and John started stumbling and mumbling to kind of make something up, like he knew what he was talking about.
Oh, I can field this question. Answers in atheism. Why was I put in timeout? Well, I happen to have it on good authority. The person that timed you out did it because you once again were mixing up subjects. You were talking about things in evolution, and then all of a sudden asked how the first cells were made. You know, and you did that okie doke you always do, where you're conflating abiogenesis, the origin of life, with evolution. And I just had heard it like for the 150th time in a couple of weeks. And so I just, I timed you out. It was only 5 minutes.
I think my explanation is simpler.
Oh. What is it?
Someone with a wrench got mad at him.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
John, answer my question. Answer what question, Otangelo? Your stupid fucking question about the origin of life? How the first cells were formed? We don't know, Otangelo. But as Peter pointed out to you like a week or so ago, there are several hypotheses. That's all I can say to you.
I got to find a video by Tony Reed. He did a video about abiogenesis that listed just tons of stuff that we do know about how all that happened and all the progress that was made. But I'll try to post it in the description. But let's watch John bumble and stumble now that he's being pressed on abiogenesis.
Did you see what I changed my name to?
Where are you?
Yes, I did.
Not that John. We got to start calling him Ox.
I just call him Mad Max.
Mad Max.
Different actions than they would in a different cell type.
Are you asking what causes a cell to be a blood cell versus a neuron?
Yes, but I'm asking specifically in the context of what is necessary prior to transcription and expression of genes that vary based on cell type. What causes that?
Well, I guess I would say other genes that are nearby. I mean, like
this is the equivalent of asking what is necessary for Texas to have Texas. Like that's what he's asking. And John thinks this is like a brilliant got you. It's like, well, yeah. How do you explain Texas?
Like
You
you
know-
have this cascade of
Go ahead.
Well, no, it was on the other topic.
Not
Just
done.
real quick, Otangelo, or Andrew said to Otangelo Grasso, I think you're afraid of I don't knows. And Otangelo says, capital no, I am rational. Otangelo, what is rational about giving an explanation for something that there is no explanation for? You're basically saying it's rational that if we don't know how something happened, it is rational to say, therefore God must have done it. I don't get it.
Okay, Benghazi has hit the nail on the head here. Is saying gas isn't affected by gravity rational?
That's not rational at all.
Okay, you're real rational.
So now I'm confused because creation myths refer to Maddox, and now he's saying JFC, John. So like, is he saying Jesus fucking Christ to me, or Jesus fucking
No.
Christ to Maddox, or?
Yeah, he was saying about what Maddox said before we
creation
paused.
myths, you got to start calling them Maddox or Mad.
I might just start calling him Betamax.
Betamax, yeah, call him Betamax. Because John is getting offended as, what the fuck, John?
Well, I mean, I'm not offended by anybody in here using the word John because you know the difference between Johns. But for posterity's sake, people watch this later on that don't know us, and they're like, boy, they're really fucking knocking that fucking John dude around that's in the room.
Yeah. Okay. You ought to talk to your mom. She gave you one of the most common names in the fucking universe.
Right. She named me, my name is John Matthew Peterson, and I grew up to be an atheist.
Oh, my God. Peterson on top of it. I mean, damn. Smith would have been worse, but.
Fuck you, Benghazi.
John Maddox is the real John. Oh, shit. Anyway, okay. Let's listen to some more idiocy.
In fact, I don't quite understand the question.
Yeah.
Okay, so,
'Cause
and this is
what
why
is Texas?
I called you out on this before, of you are clearly
I called you out on this
researching
before.
and diving into the
How did Texas evolve?
very, very high level hypotheticals from the evolutionary biology perspective and not actually the real world practical application. So we know, and there's lectures on this, I think I've actually mentioned this to you before, and I've talked about it in many streams I think you've been in, that we now know beyond all doubt that cell types, one of the absolute number one primary reasons for cell type specificity comes directly from acetylation and methylation and other epigenetic tagging.
Oh, what an idiot.
That has absolutely zero to do with genes by themselves.
A fucking
It alters,
idiot.
it both influences the histone
Let's put some words in
structure
there.
based on the chromosomes based on cell type. It varies the expression and the silencing and the amplification of different genes, and it also modifies which open reading frame of the exact same freaking sequence is expressed in cell type A versus cell type B.
Oh my God.
So we're now looking at.
He mentioned it's like, how do you build a car? And he's talking about how the lug nut goes on.
Well, and here's the thing. Andrew his intelligence is impressive. What I find to be much more impressive is the fact that he has not laughed once during this exchange.
Yeah. Well, Andrew's always trying to figure out, am I wrong? Because he thinks, and that's a problem when an atheist goes against these fucking assholes. That if they ask you a question, you think about it for a while, and you sound like you're unsure of yourself, because you're double checking your own knowledge. Because we're honest about what we know and what we don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for Christ's sake, and we always end up coming off like we're the ones that are unsure of ourselves. You know why? Because we fucking are. Because if you aren't unsure of yourself, you don't know anything.
John Maddox, I'm convinced when he goes, he's looking something up in a thesaurus.
Yeah, or
he'd be like, could you guys excuse me? I need to go to relieve my bowels, and afterwards I will lave my anus with a bidet.
But he just
You guys
learned
wanna
the
know
words
the real reason he does
acetylation
that?
and methylation, I think. Go ahead, Neil.
That the real reason he does that, and I've actually noticed this when he pauses like that, he's looking for the biggest, most like sophisticated sounding word for whatever he's trying to describe.
Yeah, delineated. You know, Jesus Christ.
That's exactly why he pauses like that. It's fucking funny. Oh shit.
Hyper specific.
There you go.
Variation control in a controlled manner of functions based on cell type that has absolutely zero to do with the genes by themselves. And
the genes, but the fuck it doesn't. The fuck. Oh my god, I'm gonna have a fucking stroke.
Please don't.
Scott,
all of those
did
functions.
anything Maddox just said makes sense?
No. It definitely depends on the fucking genes. That's what's being regulated and being differentially transcribed in these different cell types. But there's a whole lot more to just epigenetics or what methylation and acetylation is like the first thing you learn about epigenetics. And it's a much wider field. But I mean, there are all kinds of biophysical forces going on. And what Andrew started out with is cell communication was the right question, because these cells go into a different area and they receive different signals at the surface, depending on where they are, and they communicate with each other, and they auto-create themselves. They auto-create the tissue.
Does Maddox have any kids?
Yeah, unfortunately, he's got a kid.
I mean, so like, okay, so he goes to read his kid a bedtime story. Jack and Jill went up an upheaval of the plate tectonic system to fetch a pail of H2O.
No, that's not quite the way he'd do it. It'd be like, do you know what the freaking hill is, child? We're finding that hills are high, Susie, or whatever the fuck her name is. Oh shit.
Are expressed and executed via proteins that have various like cell type specific sequences in order to execute the things I was talking about. Like, we know this beyond doubt.
He said cell type specific. I just love this guy. I don't know. I don't listen to enough Maddox.
Hello,
and they've actually developed new technology within the last 5 years just to be able to read this
in the last
stuff.
5 years.
And now they're discovering
they fucking knew some of this shit in 1970, 1980. Fucking John.
Like, holy crap! They've gotten all the way to the point of like this sequence is expressed X number of different ways in these different cell types. And then when you think things I've talked about before in relation to like content delivery networks, we have all of these like clusters of protein coding genes in the genome. And for years, we've heard ad nauseum from evolutionary biologists that this stuff hasn't, all the stuff in between has no bearing and whatnot. What do we now discuss?
That's what, instead of Maddox, that should be his new name right there.
What's that?
Ad nauseum.
Ad nauseum. I mean, what a fucking idiot. We knew this shit in the 80s, or like 40 years ago, 50 years ago. We had a ton of this stuff. No evolutionary biologist has ever denied how, in fact, embryology, we actually knew a lot about it in 1910.
Yeah, hey, Randolph Richardson. Yes, that is me who said hello to you, John Peterson. Unfortunately, I had to change my name for this stream because there's a YEC Nimrod that they review quite often, who was the last guy you heard talking on the video there, John Maddox, and they keep referring to him as John.
Yeah, it's called John abuse. There's a lot of John abuse going on in this fucking stream. We should call you Mr. Peterson.
No, I don't warrant that. Well, maybe at my age I do, but
Sir Peterson. How about that?
No.
I knight thee.
I gathered up all my fucking sport jackets and ties probably 25 years ago and threw them in the garbage. So no, sir, no, John, no.
You guys know what's funny? Danny has been sitting here for the last 20 minutes just listening to us rip on his best bud, John Maddox.
Who has?
Danny.
Dan.
I'm like a crocodile. I'll get you off. Don't worry.
Crocodile?
Right.
He's like a crocodile. He's going to snap. Does that mean you're going
Spoken like a true Louisianan.
There are no crocodiles here. Thank you.
When was the last time you had crawdads, Danny?
Last year.
Oh,
The season is just coming about.
Oh, okay. I didn't know there was a season on crawdads. Is it like hunting season?
You can only eat them between like early February, late January to basically early June, and then it's over.
Oh, do they get like muddy tasting after that?
I don't understand their development cycle, but I think it has to do with that.
Okay. Oh, I didn't know there was a hunting season on crawdads.
Well, we have a lot of farms.
Crawdads?
Yeah.
Thought he was talking about crocodiles.
All of our crawfish come from farms.
Oh, really? You don't hunt them, so you don't have a hunting season on crawdads.
People do it for fun, but commercially or like in the stores, they're all farm, just all farm.
Yeah. Oh, Minnesota, we have the white-tailed deer. You know, we suit up in red suits and load our rifles and drink an excessive amount of alcohol and go out and shoot some shit. I thought maybe you did that with crawdads too, but
yeah, there wouldn't be much left of a crawdad if you shot it.
In Minnesota, we would try. That's the way we would do it. Okay.
Well, I guess that last time out worked. Otangelo didn't come back.
Oh, you timed him out again?
Yeah.
Don't time Otangelo out. Okay. Let him roll because I collect all of his juicy little quotes, and one day we're going to put them together in an encyclopedic.
Okay. Trust me, there was nothing he posted today that he hasn't said 100 times before.
Okay.
Hey, Speed, I see where Randolph may want a link to get in.
Oh, fuck. I had not been paying attention. I am so sorry, Randolph. Randolph Richardson. Haven't had him in before.
Yeah, you have. He's been in here a couple times.
Randolph?
Mm-hmm. I believe so.
Never.
I believe he.
I don't think ever.
He's been in one on your channel.
We're about ready to wrap up, so I think I will review more of this video and bookmark it for maybe tonight for Sonata.
Oh, that sounds like fun.
Yeah, it could be fun. Could be fun.
So what is this?
Yeah, I think you can safely say that LPP doesn't understand Evo Devo, and he doesn't understand the Devo part at all. He went out and he learned something, and he decided to beat somebody over the head with it, and that's pretty much all he does.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Andrew might have if he's coming, or Randolph, I mean, if he's coming in, he was like alluding to the fact that he had talked to John Maddox before and described him as John Maddox likes to drag his interlocutor down rabbit holes.
Yeah. Yeah. Here's Randolph. Hello.
Hello. How are you doing?
Hello, sir.
Randy.
Doing okay.
Randy.
We're just ripping on Maddox.
Hey, Randy. He's a good guy, but I'm Randolph. It's good to see you all here.
So tell us about your conversation with John Maddox.
Oh, it was very informal. It was a couple of months ago. I think it was on Discord, or it might have been on StreamYard. He onto YouTube. He was starting to ask me all these strange philosophical questions that actually a lot of them weren't making any sense. They sounded like they were going way deep into a rabbit hole, and I felt like he was trying to drag me down into the rabbit hole with him.
Yep. That's pretty much John.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't just me misunderstanding. All right.
No, that's pretty much Maddox. That's not pretty much John. That's pretty much Maddox. All right.
Yeah, Maddox.
Maddox. Yes.
Yeah,
That's what I'm talking about. John Peterson's cool.
We've offended John Peterson. But Maddox goes out and learns a fact. And then he comes in like they just discovered this fact. And he beats everybody over the head with it. And he creates these monstrous sentences that run on for like way too long.
Yeah, he did that to me.
Yeah.
So
and you gotta, and you're trying to parse his sentences, and like he's way ahead of you, you know, because it's amazing. It's like that that centipede that rips its legs off and throws them, and they're still twitching. You're still parsing his last sentence.
Like he would be like, okay, so whereas one of us would say the dog ran through the yard, he would be like the canine
In any other context.
ambulated through the amalgamation of dirt and grass and
yeah.
So it sounds like John Maddox is kind of some kind of a toy collector. Like he keeps trying to play with his new toys, but he ends up bashing people over the head with these new toys.
Right.
Even though we don't want to play with his toys. This is how Christopher Hitchens talks about stuff too.
Yeah, he flunked basic building blocks and he went right to fucking Transformers and got
That sounds like a lot of fun, but that can lead to a lot of problems.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
You see what Andrew Cumming just posted, Speed?
LPP said total. That's what he said about what?
This video that we're watching, he said that when LPP left that, he posted in the live chat, total waste of time.
Oh my god! Yeah,
I mean, which would make sense if he was describing himself. But.
Right. He is a total waste of time, waste of space. You know, Maddox keeps saying, "Oh, speed of sound. What is speed of pudding?" He calls me. What? speed of pudding. It's a long story, but anyway. Why don't you post a video comeback against something I said? And I kept telling him, John, you haven't ever said anything that I can get my teeth into. All you've done is fucking spout nonsense, and I can't parse it. We went through some of his videos and we tried to parse. I even had the transcript, and we tried to parse some of his sentences.
Yeah,
like some of them absolutely make no sense at all.
It's like reading a transcript of. Extemporaneous comments from Donald Trump.
Yeah, exactly. And he is a Trump supporter, so I guess they get maybe they understand each other somehow at some level.
I find Darth Dawkins to be easier to converse with, actually.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
That would be a first.
But the problem with Darth Dawkins is the conversation progresses extremely slowly because he's very repetitive, and it's really hard to get very far with him.
That's because he's running a script.
Yeah, that's what everybody says, and it definitely is very routine with him.
Did you see his last interaction on MDD with
Mark Drysdale?
What is it? Who is it?
Mark Drysdale.
Mark Drysdale.
Yeah. And literally, Darth Dawkins spent the first hour of the debate asking him the same question over and over again, even though Mark had said several times, "Well, I already answered that question. Let's move on." The mod even said, "Well, yeah, you guys are kind of at an impasse. We can move on." You know, he might have said like after a half hour, and he literally, and it's not an exaggeration. He asked the same question over and over again for an hour straight.
Yeah, he did that because he's not getting the answer he wants, so he keeps doing it again.
Exactly.
They do that in police interrogations. They'll ask the same question 3 times.
Yeah.
By the 4th time, most people are already feeling exhausted and just give the answer they think that the interrogator wants.
Yep.
I think that's what Darth Dawkins is trying to do over and over again.
Maybe he's a police detective or something, or he should have been.
He's a psychiatrist, which is kind of scary if that's true.
Is he really?
I don't know.
Now I don't know what the fuck's going on in live chat. Now Benghazi posts, ask the real John to write out a syllogism for you to address. Like, who's the real John now? Like,
you're the real John.
Sorry, the real John is John Peterson. So if you're talking about the other one, then I suggest you call him by his last name, Maddox, because that's kind of rare.
Hey, Max.
Wait a minute. Tanzo's back. He says John Maddox believes in God. That's why he is a smart guy.
That doesn't.
I mean, John Maddox believes in God, but that's not why he's not a smart person.
Right. Yeah. That's very true.
To be fair, there's a lot of people who believe in deities who are very smart people. I don't lump those two categories together or cross them over because I find that it's impractical.
Well, and I offer blowback to that proposition that all theists are stupid, because most everybody in my life that I care about is a theist, and they are not stupid. They might have one irrational belief, but that doesn't make them overall idiots. John Maddox, however, just happens to be someone who believes in God that is a blithering idiot.
Yeah, so there's a case-by-case basis example right there.
Well, creationism is a cult, and they have to have something that is so different than everybody else that differentiates them, and it's their hill of superiority, and that's what they're sticking to, and they have to deny 90% of science to maintain creationism.
Yeah.
And
Eric 311 asks a good question. Does believing gas has no mass or is unaffected by gravity make you a smart guy?
Smart if you can figure out.
I would say no.
Okay, so Darth Dawkins flunked out of dental school, and now he makes dentures. Oh,
This has got to be a meme. There's no way that's actually true.
I think that could be true.
Well, Brenda's in the side chat. She says hi.
Hi, Brenda. We're about to wrap up, guys. It's 4 o'clock. That's boomer o'clock for me.
It's 3:40, 3:59. Nope, it just turned 4 o'clock.
Come on, just about time. 24 hours. Get with the program.
What the hell are you doing back there on a big sheet? What are you?
Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm building the future True North Talk studio. Neil 604 Atheist and I will be co-hosting, and this is the wall. Call it the West Wall if you like a Game of Thrones approach. I'm just putting vinyl on this wall. The problem is I can't build the wall in place and put vinyl on it because there's not enough room back there to actually put the vinyl on to be there and do that. So this is one of those situations where I have to build the wall first and then lift it up. But the other walls I'll be able to build in place.
So
Hey, Leo, see Otangelo's questions for you in the chat.
I did.
Oh, I like Otangelo. He's fun. Otangelo's fun. What's his question?
Does somebody want to read it for?
Oh, here, allow me. Okay. Leo is claiming that the universe is not finely tuned, making you a smart guy.
No, that's not making me a smart guy. I say that because I'm a smart guy.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
There you go. Andrew's got it. Shit.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
So this is going to be the studio for what show?
True North.
Yeah, and we have a website for it already, truenorthtalk.ca. And it's what it's going to be is an atheism call-in program. So it'll be hosted by atheists, and we want to hear from atheists and everybody else.
Okay.
Are you trying to be the Atheist Experience?
No, we're Canadian.
Oh, okay. So the Canadian Experience.
That's a great name.
You do know that Neil has been on the Atheist Experience, right?
Oh yeah. Actually,
I don't remember.
We're going to be promoting the Atheist Experience from our show, and we're hoping they'll promote us too.
Okay, I'm going to give you a wrench. Can you stick something in chat right now?
Sure. What do you want me to put there?
Your website.
Oh, sure. Okay.
Hang on a second. I got to give you a wrench. I got to go find you again. Damn it, I lost you. Where are you? There you are. A wrench shall be awarded. Now you can time Otangelo out like everybody else.
Don't do that. Don't time Otangelo.
I don't.
Midnight.
I don't do that.
Midnight. You
Unless
think
it's
anybody's
something.
going to listen to you?
Unless it's something extremely egregious, I'm not going to do that. To me, my attitude is banishments and muting have to be earned, and they're going to have to work hard for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. We
Well,
only have
and that's the absolute mindset to take. I, however, every now and then do it just for lols.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not good.
Yeah, John likes
Well-
to kick Otangelo or poke him a little bit now and then, but
But I know you, John. I know how you operate.
yeah. Yeah, we're a little bit rough on this channel sometimes, but
That's okay.
yeah. We're hoping to get some leading, like world-class abiogenesis researchers in here. We might have to clean up our act a little bit for at least a few days.
Yeah. Hey, what was that? You were going to link something about that. You were saying, I forget. You said something about a video or a book or something that. Where they sussed out like a lot of things that we do know about abiogenesis.
Yeah, it's How Creationism Taught Me Real Science by what the hell's his name?
Tony Reed.
Yeah, Tony Reed, and it's pretty good. Let me go see if I can find it. It's in my history. What's happening? I will post the link, or I'll put it in the description too, because it's pretty good. There's a lot of information in there, and he puts it together so well. He makes us look like idiots, you know.
You sounded like a confused grandfather there for a minute.
When?
What's happening?
What's happening? That's kind of my shtick.
Is this a series of videos we're talking about?
Yes.
Creationism? Okay, yeah. I'll share the first one.
He's got a link of about 90 of them, or like
101 or something.
They're just excellent. They're just unbelievably good. This guy is really worth watching everything he does.
What's his name?
History. Tony Reed, right? Tony Reed.
Did you post the link somewhere? I don't see it.
I'm working on it.
I did. I posted the playlist.
Okay, now this one is okay. I'm posting this one is the ABio one, and there are 3 or 4 of them, but they're pretty.
Did you guys see what Otangelo just put in the chat? Tony Reed. I have never seen in-depth arguments from him. That's cool. I don't think anybody in here has ever seen an in-depth argument from you.
Tony Reed's arguments are so good, and he pumps so much information into one 10-minute video that it's excellent. He is worth watching. So anyway, everybody subscribe to him and go out and get his content. It's pretty good. Otangelo had a debate with him? What? I got to see that. Can you post a link? Oh, you can't post a link. You don't have a rep. That's too bad. Anyway, guys.
It was on your channel, Otangelo. When was it? I'll find the link for it.
Yeah. You don't care about your baya? Your blah, Leo. Otangelo doesn't care about your blah.
I suspect the reason for that is that Otangelo may not be an Emilia Clarke fan.
Yeah,
I don't really care. I've never asked him. I suppose it'd be a shame if he was.
I do hope you get to meet her someday, Leo.
Yeah, me too. Though it's probably not going to happen, which is fine with me.
I posted it.
Leo still has the Emilia Clarke doll, so he's okay.
Doll? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I thought you had a anatomically correct life-size doll of Emilia Clarke.
Nope.
Yeah.
To be honest, I wouldn't buy one if they did.
Would that be a black market edition or an authorized edition?
I don't know.
We have a link by Top Dog Shattuck to that Otangelo Tony Reed discussion.
Okay.
Fantastic.
Well, that ought to be a trip. I'd like to see how Otangelo got the idea that there were no arguments there. Anyway, it'll be interesting. Okay, guys, can we wrap up for the day?
Anytime you like.
Sure.
Thanks for bringing me in.
Yeah, and we'll keep plugging your channel.
Oh, I appreciate it. Yeah, and likewise. I think I've got you in the Atheist Frontier already.
Good.
If not, I'll double check that. I'm pretty sure I added you in there.
Okay. So we're wrapping up for the day. Goodbye, boys and girls.
Goodbye, Otangelo. I love you.
We love Otangelo.
Don't scare me. Yeah.
And John Maddox, hugs and kisses. You know, we really love you. Goodbye, cruel world. We're in the broadcast.
Fucking agnostic pig about what size head are you, Leo?
I don't know. I've never had it measured.